I don't know why I did that. So good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. I have no idea why I swapped the dates and the times like that. Anyway, I've had a very fun and partially long day. This is not this is not how this is gonna go. But basically, yeah. Yesterday I finished this sketchbook after 13 months and some change because everything, life and all that good stuff. This is my dirty sketchbook because I just sketch whatever. I literally just like to sketch whatever into this thing, and nothing was off limits really. And that just means that it's going to be all over the place. So with that being said, if you are new here to the channel, please subscribe, like, and tell me in the comments below if this sketchbook is actually dirty or not after the fact. Don't mind this. I'm literally just filling the space right now. This is actually what I usually keep in the back, and this is the receipt because I like to keep track of when I buy these things compared to when I actually finish them. I bought this thing November 25th of last year, 2019. So this is interesting. I bought it with a lot of alcohol as well, rubbing alcohol, because that's how that goes. So with all that being said, let's actually get on into the book partially. Yeah. So here is the first one that here's the first one. And this one is basically a stippling doodle that I did last year. This was actually the first thing this is all over a year old. So that's cool. I like this one. I liked a lot of these. You're going to see a lot of these throughout the actual book, and you may or may not like them. So this right here is actually a tree that I drew. What was it? It was out in my backyard, actually, and all that good stuff. It was, I don't know why I did this one in particular. I'm not sure what the tree spoke to me about. Don't read into that. I don't speak to trees. Maybe. So yeah, and here are some faces / sketches, just to try to figure out pen line work and working with different pencils and everything. This was interesting, but I don't know why I made it so random. But again, that's where this sketchbook came into play. So this one's upside down. But here is another one that I kind of like a little bit more than I think I should. This one was a area of the parking of my neighborhood, and I just drew what I saw more or less. And I took some dirt and dirtied up the page to give it some green, basically. I don't know why. I just felt like sitting outside this day because this was on the same time. I just felt like sitting outside, and this is actually the tree that I was sitting in front of while I was drawing this one. Again, I have no idea why I was doing all of this, but something told me to go outside, and I listened. And this is a continuation as well. This one is just a little bit bigger. This is another part of the backyard. This is an AT&T pole. I mean, underground cable indicator. Yes, that's what that's called. And I just drew I did my best to draw some foliage. Again, I wasn't feeling it this day. And I'm starting to remember what was happening, actually. Sketchbooks do preserve memories. Wow. That's interesting. Ooh. Here is a stippling piece that I decided to This was done with my brush pen that I have somewhere, and I can't. Let's see. Can I get to it? Yeah. This was done with this brush pen that I need to clean, actually, because I used it yesterday. But yeah, this was fun. I don't know why I used the brush pen. I think at the time, I was learning different line weight variation. That's what it was. I wanted to figure out line weight variation so I could do some better things in the future, which is now. And this one is kind of the same, but I did this one with microns. Still fun. And let's see, there's certain angles that I hold these at. I think this is the right angle. It's just spreading out like that. A lot of these actually do that. A year in retrospect. That's interesting. Ooh, this one. I like this one. This one turned out to be a castle when I did it. But basically what happened was I took microns and I was just sketching and making textures from the ink and just I was just lining everything up and texturing everything here. All I was doing was just cross hatching or hatching, which I would go down and then left and then diagonal again. This is why this one looks so layered up. But this one, I don't know why let's see. Now I do. Yeah. So yeah, this ended up being a castle, and once I realized it once I got about here, and then I kept pulling it up. And unfortunately, it's at this angle because I wasn't thinking about it, but now that I wanted to pull it up a little bit more, and if this was digital art, I would love to just take that over and redo that, which I could do in the future, but this is just something I thought of right now. And here is another stippling piece, which I liked, but this one was a bit tamer compared to a lot of the other ones, but it still helps with the experiment in contrast that I learned. Basically, that I learned contrast by doing all of these, and you actually see them a lot more throughout everything. But okay, now I'm becoming incoherent. This is terrible. So yeah, that's how that works. Once again, I had my brush pen and I was just experimenting with brushwork. My favorite is this dog/jaguar that I probably don't know the name of. I don't know. This was a little caricature of a gentleman I saw on the train at the time. I liked it. So I stretched a couple of things out and pulled some things together, and I came up with that. That was fun. This one I wanted to figure out a skull for, but because I drew this without the skull in mind, basically. You don't want to do that, people. You never want to do that. But it's continuation here. Okay. But you keep in mind the bones and everything, guys. Here is a continuation of these, and then I drew this page the next day, but this one was just animals, basically. I like this one a little bit more, but I overdid the nose and I messed up the whiskers. I didn't use the Jelly Roll white pen that I had, and because of that, just like this one too, it didn't work out the best way it could have. And here is another one right here, and then the next day, the next day, I drew this little doodle here that I wanted to use as my last video for the year of 2019, and I liked it. It was the full-on sketch didn't turn out like I wanted it to, but I still appreciated it. It was satisfying to an extent, but honestly, it was still weird because it was so random. But now, like after all this time, it's smudged all over the place. I like smudging. It's fun. And here are some watercolor splotches / that's kind of it. There's no real brushwork here. There's just a spillage, basically. That's actually what I'll call this one, a spillage. A spillage of what, you might ask? Don't worry about it. But yeah, I like this one. This one's odd, but satisfying. And here is a slight continuation as well. That's honestly what you're going to see here. Again, this sketchbook is all about just mess and more mess. But I like this one. This is this gives me a Red Riding Hood vibe right here. I like this one. Honestly, there's a bit of a nose right here. It took me a year to figure that out, but apparently there's a nose right there. And obviously there's a nose right here too. Okay, so this is about 25 ideas on one page. We have a background thumbnail, another background thumbnail, another background, 4 sets of paneling for a comic book that I was drawing. Well, I was writing out and then I was going to be drawing it, but I'll get to that part later. And a sad clown. I don't know if he's actually a clown, but I drew him like one. Let's see. This is a background, and then this is the extension of that background. So the light would come in here a little bit, I think. Don't mess it up. All right. Continuation of that. Here is page 125 and 126. What was this one here? This was 123. So again, I was just layering. I was laying out panels for how I would construct the page. And without doing this, I wouldn't have been able to actually finish writing it because I think about the picture and animation as well. And before I even begin to write, I look at how I want it to be composed, which helps. But when you have to write it out, it becomes difficult. But it's a living, honestly. And again, another background here. I like doing these little abstract inward motions of caves. I like it. It's odd, but it's fun and surprisingly satisfying. Headshots. It's honestly all I have to say with that. You'll get a lot of variety here, but headshots. There's a missing page here. I drew a kid on the bus at 2:30 p.m. in January. Why did I write that down? Because I like to be specific, apparently. But now here's this one. This one is Ooh, there's perspective going this way. Interesting. This one's actually unfinished now that I think about it, but it's satisfying. Like most of these are. Why did I not finish it? I don't know. Well, I think my hand cramped up because all of this is a lot of work to do properly, but once I get into the flow of doing it, stippling is very fun. But like I always say, it cramps the hand. And here's another one that is a lot shorter. These get shorter. Interesting. But like the other one, I'm always messing with the depth of the piece. And usually there's always one line that stands forward. There's another one that stands out. And yeah, it's always interesting. But okay, so here's a double one. I did a lot of blue ones too. I don't know. Well, actually, I know why. I use the same type of pen all the time. It's either the Jelly Roll here. I mean, not the jelly. The gel-based Pilot pen here, or a Micron for this one. And most of these black ones are going to be Micron, or a black jelly. It's always a Jelly Roll. It's going to be a black gel pen. All right, here is another tree. This one's in the backyard. This was overgrowth. And this one was in the backyard. This one was about 40 feet away from it. All I had to actually do was just turn my head this way. And instead of looking at this one, I looked at that one. And that's how this one came to be. This one's a lot more composed. And actually, both of these are mostly charcoal. This one's a little bit more penciled than anything, a little bit more graphite, but this one is all charcoal, and that kind of explains why this is so messy. And again, I titled this the sketchbook the messy one because of how much was going on. Again, here's another one that's charcoal. Charcoal allowed for me to get some deep black areas so I can pop the contrast, just like how I've been doing with the stippling. But the downside of charcoal is that if you don't have the fixative spray, you will not be able to, it'll always be able to come off. Oh, I actually dirtied up my finger. That's terrible. But yeah, that's how that works. And I can't explain it because this is the same thing. This is depth and popping out the contrast areas. Again, very fun time to do this. Very fun, but it's very interesting because of how charcoal works, basically. And here's another another page that was not really done. Here's a charcoal piece. I actually did this on the train, and because I'm gonna blame it on the train being bumpy, but because of that, I messed up a couple of the lines. Not really. I was just nervous using charcoal, and her torso is like extremely stretched out. I don't like that. That's interesting, but that's how that works. And we are actually encroaching on the, okay, not really, but we kind of are, but I'll get to that in a second. I drew this one with Sharpie. Don't know why. I think I wanted to use a red. And this one is red Sharpie with a pen with the same blue gel pen. It's interesting. It's interesting. This one's weird. I'm pretty sure I should have used purple in the middle of this, but we'll figure that out later. And nothing on this one. But this was a bit of perspective. Perspective testing. I wanted to use that. I was out with my family, and oh yeah, this is that. I actually didn't know. That's not good. But this is it. Yeah. Here is another page. This one is 131. This one was a lot easier to rough out, and it actually reads a lot easier. It reads the exact same way a year later. Well, actually, it's 11 months later. It reads the exact same way though, as how I wanted it to. I'm glad it works though. That's the one thing that's the one thing I was nervous about when I drew this one as well as the next one, but how it came out in the interpretation. But here's another one. Here's another stippling one. I like this one too, but I feel like I should have branched this out a little bit more, like I always do. I don't know why I keep doing this, but that's the only way I can actually display how I'm saying it, how I mean it in my head. And here's another double color one. Again, I like the clash of the blues and the reds. I like how the colors clash, basically. I'm pretty sure I did this one first though, but I didn't because I numbered it. I labeled it and dated it partially. I drew this one on the bus, and I was messing with my red pencil, just because it's the red checkmark pencil, but just because I could. This woman on the bus, she had a nice hairdo, and she had a very interesting scarf here. Unfortunately, you can't really see the scarf because I didn't draw it. By the time I got to the scarf, I was doing the hair first, but by the time I got to the scarf, she had left the building. I mean, the truck. Wow. She had left the train cart. There we go. Because I sure understood what I was trying to tell myself. Anyway. All right. So here is the thumbnailing stage for my fifth mermaid, my fifth Atlantean story illustration. Basically, I just messed around with her in different poses. I messed around with the statues being in various states of decay and dilapidation, as well as I even messed around with the framing of the cave overall. And you can actually see that here, how the actual piece turned out, but it was satisfying in the end. And then I just have scratches and scribbles and everywhere, and light sources and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how that works. And I've also had a lot of friends draw on these as well, but we'll get to that as well. We'll get to all of that. Ooh, I did this one on the train. So this one, most of these that I do on the train, I can tell because they're a lot more incoherent than they usually are. This one looks like it's falling, it's melting upward, like it's going up that way. This one's cool. I feel like I should do more of these. Oh yeah, and I realized I did this one with my gel pencil, my black gel pen. This one's interesting. I'm gonna have to revisit that one. All right, and I did this. Ooh, I'm not sure if I did this one on the train, but this one was definitely Micron, so I could have, but I'm not sure. But this one was interesting because of how I rippled everything. I end up doing this a little bit more because of how how it cuts the page up, and it allows for the eye to rest in a couple of more places. It's satisfying and interesting at the same time for me. Not many people actually admired this one whenever I would show it to them, but I feel like I needed to drop this one a little bit more and add some more to the foundation. But overall, it still turned out well, so I like it. Doodles on here. This is a bird, possibly. I don't really know what actually it could be, but it's a bird now. Face, scribble, 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 scribble. This is actually a Charlie Brown silhouette. It's not actually a Charlie Brown silhouette, but it actually is a Charlie Brown silhouette. So at least he didn't get a rock for Halloween, you know. Which way is this one? This one's here. So again, I am messing with that little page cut again. I like it. I really like cutting the pages up like this. And again, it makes for better composition and better contrast overall. But when I got to it, it was very interesting. And here was a piece that I didn't really know how to do, basically. I did it on the bus. Here's a little sketch too. I don't know what this is. I have no idea what this is. Okay. Anyway, we're not even gonna talk about that. So this one was just a slightly melted face. I don't know what I wanted it to actually be. This was the time where I was just doodling on the bus. This is all this was, and this was in February too. So yeah, this is an interesting one. I don't know how else to describe this one. Oh yeah, so some more train portraits. Here's one that I didn't really get to finish, and it's actually very light on the paper, very light, and then these lights are not helping. So yeah, that's a double whammy. But I like this one the most. As you see, I put the most work into it. I even gave her a necklace because I'm a gentleman like that. But yeah, that's this is an interesting one. I don't know what this one actually was. I don't know if I was an insect, like insect looking through the bushes or something. But yeah, that's how that one works. Again, I like cutting through the pages. I'm gonna repeat a lot of stuff because I don't remember saying most of these, even though I did. Yeah. I don't know how to explain this one. I don't. This is going to be fun. Yeah. It's a pencil sketch. It's definitely a pencil sketch of some sort. It was definitely drawn with a pencil. But yeah. We're going to leave that one alone. And here we are. Not really. No, not yet. This was a composition piece. I like this one. Just a study. And this was a lowly Ronin, a samurai without a master, just in the forest. And I just carried it up. I don't know why I drew this here, but he's basically looking down here. I like it. I drew these while I was getting a pair of glasses, so I couldn't really see. And then I drew this the day before this one. And then yeah, I'm pretty sure I drew this one on the way home on the train, but this was fun. Yeah, so all of this was done with one pencil, just to doodle and sketch and look at how it did. And then this one was done on the same day as this one while I was getting, my glasses. I also outlined it a little bit with red Sharpie. Now, did the red Sharpie actually help? Not really. I could have darkened it with the pencil, darkened the edges, and made it a little bit better. And actually, the red Sharpie made it rougher. But I needed to use my red Sharpie. And because I didn't finish his feet, though. That's another thing. This was me testing out calligraphy with this pen. There it is. I was just trying to figure out how this worked. Because this is still a brush, but I can use this for calligraphy. The same, I can use this one as well too, because it has that curve. It has that bend. Can y'all see it? There you go. No, focus, come back. Come on. There you go. It has that. Oh, okay, anyway. I was using this for calligraphy, and that's how that came to be. This was another texture piece. I was just experimenting, and I was on the X, the Y, and then the Z axis, trying to get 3 dimensions. I ended up doing that, and I like it. It was it became a lot more in depth, because I can't talk. So yeah, that's how that became the work. That's how that worked. Because I can't talk. But yeah. Here is another stippling piece. This one actually incorporated a lot more shapes, and I was still experimenting with darkness, and I shaded this a little bit. I like this one. This was kind of fun. Honestly, that's all I can really say. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I can say. All right. And I drew this one on the train as well. This was a model that was on a poster on the train, on one of the train advertisements. It was cool. This one was just a reference for Gambison. I didn't like it, so I didn't finish it. Just like a lot of things in this book. I didn't like it, so I didn't carry out with it. Another doodle, didn't really like it. This there's a curve. I don't know why I described my tools to you all when I could just show you what I used. So all I used was this little circle, this little semicircle. And I just did that, basically. It worked. Why did I do this? Because I was on the train and I was bored. The 3 themes that you're gonna figure out in this entire book. I was on the train and I was bored. And I used the same tool here. I typically use the same tools as the trend. And then, yeah, that's kind of how they kind of circle back around behind it. And then they come here like that. And then something tells me I should hold it up like this, but I don't know. It's this one's interesting, but it's supposed to be on the side. Here's another one that just basically continues the theme of that one, but expounded upon. I use the opening here to make all of these little seed pods, and then I had an ellipsis tool that made some more circular circles that, actually made this look a bit more nest-like I wanted it to. This was supposed to be a little bit of a nest, but a colony still. I call a lot of these colonies because that's exactly how they were supposed to be. Another cave. This is actually a cave under a tree. And I like that. I like doing that. That was fun. And this was also in June, apparently. Oh yeah. I like this face. It's my favorite face. I saw a lot of people with bandanas actually on their face, covering their face, which was cool and interesting. More texturing. I did the same thing here. This actually could be a logo for somebody. I don't know why. I don't even know why I did this. If I could pay money to see what I was thinking back then. This was a continuation, just drawing faces and getting out of some blockage as well. So whenever I do that, whenever I get into a bit of art block and I can't really draw properly, I just do circles, straight lines, cross hatching, a little bit of lips. Yeah, all of this basically, just circles for heads and stuff like that. It just helps me overall figure out where to go and get some direction. This one has a lot of shapes in it, and I like that. That's kind of it. And like a lot of these, yeah, going into, this is August. Yeah. So I didn't draw anything in here for almost most of July of this year. I think I've drawn for about 10 months in this thing in total, technically. But a lot of these are just not really all over the place, but not really consistent neither. And again, that's the theme of this sketchbook, because I have to have a theme for every sketchbook. My last one, for the sake of thinking about it, was, I can't show you this one part, and I can't show you this one. My last one, for the sake of thinking about it, was just confidence and ambition. So this one was distraction and discernment. I'm going to use that one. I drew this one yesterday, as of me recording this. And I drew this one yesterday as well because I left a page blank when I was looking back over it. So I like the line work I used here. And I actually, well, I didn't use this one for this one, but you all will see a little later. And this was at my little cousin's birthday party. This was a featured artist by the name of Prince. Yeah, he just drew something random, and I just gave him the reins for one page of my sketchbook to draw something random. And I drew the teeth. He showed me one of his action figures. I drew the teeth and partially the head of one of his King Kong action figures. And his King Kong action figure was a lot smaller than it should have been. It should have been like a foot tall instead of being like 6 inches or something. But yeah. I drew this one outside. This was one of my last stippling pieces that I recorded. I don't know. There's a this reminds me of a science fiction novel that I don't know the name of right now. Interesting. And just a bit of pose practice for this little guy here. I like the pants. Well, the pants that you can see because most of it is tucked in the boots. But yeah. This was a perspective piece. I actually drew this while I was in the doctor's office waiting for my doctor to finally take a visit and check on me and make sure I was all right. But this was a bit of 3-point perspective. I was looking down at, if you pay attention to my finger, I was looking kind of like that, basically. I was looking down at it like that. And I did it for this one, this one, and this one. I broke down the shapes that I saw. I broke it down the first time. I didn't like it, so I just stopped doing it. I broke it down again. I liked it. I moved over, added some detail. I broke it down again after I was done here, and then I moved back. And this is the final one. This one's the most accurate, even though this one may look a bit more detailed. And then I did a little bit of perspective just to practice. And this right here is just a enlarged version of the ball that was on the head of this. This is actually a phone holder. This was the joint part of the phone holder here. And it's now in my car, but it was in my bag at the time, and it was good. That was back when I couldn't use my car. So here's just some pose practice, a nice butt and all that good stuff, overlooking some land, basically just some nudity for the sake of nudity. And I like the background I used, but as you see, my hands need some work as well as my feet. But that's something I'm working on, and I'm probably going to take you all on that journey once I actually decide to record that. Anyway, sorry. Here are some poses and some practices that I did. I did these before I did that just to double check and make sure I knew what I was doing, because as you see, I drew good feet here, kind of, but then didn't really work. So I'm always working on stuff, and I'm always going to be working on stuff. And upside down. This one worked. These didn't. This worked. This is actually this is like an owl if you see it. Can it focus? Focus. There you go. Owl. Hoo. I like that one. This one was just my water bottle. Here. I think I did a smashing job. I think that worked. Probably. But I just did this with watercolor just to mess with it and have some fun. And I gave it orange. Yes, orange right here. Yes. I colored the green here for the table even though I actually didn't need to. I just didn't want to use brown. The table was wooden and it was brown. I didn't want to use that. Okay, so another splotch going this way. Splotch. I like it. And this one actually is this one's a lot more cloudy than I realized. These are cool cloud shapes that, again, I did by complete accident, but they it works. It works for what it should be doing. And the same thing goes for this one. I like it. Interesting though. It's still very interesting. Okay, here we go. I don't know how I want this one to be. Not sure. It might. A lot of these might work horizontally, but I'm not sure. Okay, so these are just notes from a workshop that I did with Aaron Blaze. He did a live stream where he had to pay for it and everything, but he drew for 6 hours and taught, drew, and lectured a lot about animals, drawing animals, how to get the curves right. Reminded me that bats have fingers, because I didn't know bats had fingers, mainly because I didn't think about it. But yeah, bats have fingers. Here's a little continuation of that, where he talked about the areas of the shoulders, the neck, the head, as well as the torso and the tail, and how everything is rough. It's either rigid or soft, and there's a rhythm between those patterns and all that good stuff. It's super cool. It was a great 6 hours, and it didn't really get me out of art block, but it helped. These did as well. Usually when I am in a state of block, I just draw hits. It didn't really help. This is Motoko Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell. But I drew all these while watching Ghost in the Shell 2045, actually, now that I think about it. Fun. It's a fun show on Netflix. It's a fun show. Here's a logo that you really don't even need to see, because the person who drew this was ridiculous. My mother bought some paint for her paint and sip trip with her cousins. I took some of that while I was over there at her house, and I just drew a little bit. I painted a little bit in the sketchbook just to see how everything works. These are all 6 colors in total, and yeah, just wanted to see how that works. I tested out the purple and the orange because those are the 2 I use the most. I drew these. These are sketches of my character Max, and this is him always realistic. I always draw him like this for some reason. Interesting. This is him a bit more fantastical, and yeah, I drew all of this while I was getting my oil changed in my car for the very first time, and unfortunately it won't be the last time. But yeah, that's how that goes. The only way I can draw this character is by having him by doing something very boring, apparently. So a portrait I also drew at the same time, getting the oil change. I drew these as well. These are logos and titles and stuff. More studies and sketch outs, just to figure out what I wanted to do for this thing. Here is this was a piece I had I took a picture from my reference library and I just sketched on it and did some things. This was on November 10th. What was I doing on November 10th? I'll figure it out. Here's an Among Us little sketch that I did. I'm not sure if I'm ever actually going to draw this, but if I do, you'll all see a video about it. But basically a female alien and a female Among Us character, but it turns out, they're astronauts, yes. And turns out she's not really human under that skin. She's actually a blob of goo. And here's that little guy. I drew that in like 10 seconds. I'm proud of it. That right there. That right there is my most proud moment right here. Out of everything in the sketchbook, that's my most proud moment, I think. So here, these are just lines, basically, lines, and more lines for me practicing with the How to Draw book by Scott Robertson. The first 30 pages are literally just you learning perspective, learning how to draw shapes, learning how to draw form, recognize the form, and most importantly, connect dots with lines to make sure your line work is very straight. I didn't realize how easy a book could make it, but these were very difficult to do, but I'm glad I did it. And here's a continuation of it. A little bit of 3D-ism with the cube, as well as I tried to do it with the sphere, but I just didn't. It's easier to do it with lines instead of just straight up circles. Even here, it was a little difficult, but yeah. And then these are all ellipses, so you can drawing a curved circle instead of a regular circle. It's a curved circle. That was fun. And then I just started drawing nothing, basically. All of this was done with Sharpie just because I wanted to draw something. I was testing brush pens and my black Sharpie, but I didn't really need to do that. But there was a nice little scene here. Just here. So yeah, that worked for me. More line testing, but I never really got around to doing the rest of this page. I don't really need to. I drew this while I drew a little bit of this while I was at Longhorn Steakhouse eating food with a friend, and yeah, that's just kind of how that's gonna go. This page was just too damaged from my other baby cousin who drew. He's the other feature artist here, my baby cousin Kendall. He drew these little guys right here, all in about 5 pages of my sketchbook. I'm kind of happy for it because I like the gesture that's actually in this. There's actually a gesture here. That's funny. There's a gesture here too, but this one's more of a person sitting down on a couch, while this person here is kind of like figure skating or something. I don't know. I see things and stuff that just, it surprises me sometimes. And actually, he drew this with a Sharpie. And then when he drew with the Sharpie, he went off the page and drew on his grandmother's desk. And I had to frantically clean it up because I didn't want to hear her wrath upon this little child who didn't know anything better. And then here is another one. After he drew that, I gave him my blue pen so he could finish up. And then that's the end of his art journey for now, at least. That was a frightening moment there, but yeah. So I drew this one yesterday outside as well. This one I actually drew outside while I was getting a little bit of sun, and I threw the brush pen on this one a little bit more, and filled out some black areas. Tried to fill out the background a little bit more. I changed up the background a little bit compared to, where is it? Here. Compared to this one. I honestly did it a little bit. It's very much the same. This one, I prefer this one just because I was a lot more stable with the pencil work. So that pencil work gave me a stronger foundation. And yeah, that just helped me a lot better. And here I drew these a little bit afterwards. Just a little body pose here. Just a woman like pulling something apart, basically. And I actually could have drew her sitting in some water on a log or something. It's things like this that just make me want to go back and draw over some things. But this one in particular, I like the scene. I liked it. Can I get it? Oh yeah. I like this scene. It was just a woman sitting. She was actually looking at the camera, but I turned her head, and now she was looking at the camera, but I turned her head going that way, and I just like it. Because I drew it so small, I didn't have time for details, but there's so many details in it already that it's so good. One of my favorites in the book, one of my favorite recent ones in this entire sketchbook, actually, just because of how recent it is. I mean, just because of how simple it was. And there's even some light around there's even some light on the frame, on the fringes of the shadow that's under the actual chair. This, again, it's the simplest ones that help me understand where I am in my art journey. It's so fun. It's really fun. And then this was actually the same woman, kind of. I just drew her in a different pose, and then I didn't finish the pose out. I kind of just drew some of the bigger shapes because that's what I wanted to do. I honestly did it for this one here as well, but you can't really tell as much. Not really. Not as much as you should be able to, but yeah, that's that one. And then last but not least, here's the last one. I always, for these sketchbooks, somehow draw a person. I don't know. I was going to go with that. But yeah. This was mostly supposed to be a pencil sketch, and then I decided to add some blackness here for some dumb reason because I kind of messed it up. But it's better. It's better than I thought. I like it. I don't know why, but I do. I'm pretty sure it's because of the hand. I simplified the hand to its basic shape. Because of that helped. I didn't have to kill to make a hand look right. Oh man. Yeah, that's how that works. But yeah. And then again, here's a receipt. So yeah, that's here. Here is it all here. I even have tape on the back so I can tape things together. This was a fun sketchbook. Honestly, it was. And the year it took was honestly worth it. It really was. But yeah. Honestly, that's it. And I have gone very much over time because yeah. So with that being said, if you are new here to the channel and you actually enjoyed the sketchbook and you even have a question about something I drew in it, please let me know in the comments below. And again, if you're new here and you want to look at some more sketchbook tours, I actually need to make a playlist of sketchbook tours because I have more than 5 now. I mean, I have more than 4, so I can actually do that. But just consider subscribing and liking the video, sharing it with somebody else who you think will also like the video as well. And I'll be back soon with another sketchbook tour. Not this month, probably in February. I don't know. I shouldn't have even said that. That's going to make this timely. Ugh. Okay. So, with that being said, you all, thank you for watching, and I'm going to catch you all later.